Welcome to this tutorial for learning how to play the theme song to the OA. If you're familiar with the show, you know that the main character Prairie plays violin, and when the theme song plays throughout the course of the show, a lot of times the violin is the main melody instrument because of that. And I'm going to talk you through some of the song's technical demands and give you some tips on how to navigate those, and then I'll play the full song for you with the sheet music showing up line by line, so you can learn the song for yourself if you wish. Now, this theme does require shifting knowledge, and it has some trickiness with the bow, and so for those two reasons, I would say this sits at about an intermediate level of difficulty, possibly venturing into advanced difficulty a little bit. The melody itself is pretty simplistic and straightforward. It's just G, C, G, F, C, F, E, C, and that's the heart and soul of the theme of VOA. The highest note we'll need is this C in the center of the E string. So if you want to play the song exactly as it sounds, you will need a little bit of knowledge of playing in second and or third position. You can certainly try out different options for finger numbers and see what is working best for you. I personally prefer to play it by shifting back and forth between third and first position. And I like third position for the higher notes because that lets me play the top note with my third finger, that C with my third finger. And I prefer that because my third finger vibrato is naturally a little fuller and a little richer. And there are many moments in the song where we're just hanging out on that top note for quite a number of beats. So I prefer to have my best foot forward with my vibrato. I could totally play it in second position with my fourth finger as the top note, but my fourth finger naturally has a more narrow sound with its vibrato. And so I'm not quite as much of a fan of using that option. Now, it is fully possible to play the whole theme song entirely in first position by just taking everything down the octave. And there are a couple of points in the theme that it naturally bounces down to the lower octave anyway. And you'll get to see what it looks like on sheet music in that lower octave. And you can use that as a frame of reference for learning the entire song in that lower position. But yes, if you want to play it and have it sound exactly the way it is in the show, then you'll need a little bit of shifting knowledge to comfortably do that. Now, the reason I say this song potentially creeps into the advanced difficulty level is because of the unevenness of the rhythm of the melody. The main rhythmic motif of the melody features an eighth note, followed by a multi-tied, very long sustained note. So we have this constant short note and then very, very lengthy note, and that creates a very lopsided experience with our bowing. So the song requires a little bit of juggling on our part as a bowed string player, just to make sure everything sounds balanced and good and make sure we're not running out of bow. The long and short of what you want to do to have an easier playing experience is to use a little extra bow speed on the eighth notes and then go slower with your bow on the long sustained notes, so try to save bow, and that will help you balance the sound and make the notes sound good in relation to each other and help you have a consistent sound with your bow. So that would look something like this. So what you can see happening here is I'm using a little extra bow speed and leaning into those eighth notes. So I'm setting myself up nicely for the long sustained notes. So I've got plenty of runway, plenty of horsehair to be able to play the full duration of those sustained sounds. And then when I get to the top sustained notes, I just ease off the gas a little bit and slow down my bow speed. And then that way I've got plenty of time and plenty of room to hold that note out for its full duration. I do have one more bowing tip for you to help you have as easy of an experience playing this theme as possible. And that is, you should really aim to have your bow arm as nice and loose and relaxed as possible, have your bow hand as relaxed as possible. These long sustained high notes are quite exposed, and we're chilling on them for a good while. So if there's any level of tension or extra pressing into the string or anything like that, we will get shakiness, and it's going to disrupt your sound and it's going to disrupt your flow. So if you can have the bow nice and relaxed, that is going to go a long way in helping you get those notes to speak clearly and just make it easier for you to play. There are also a couple of times where we're really holding that top note for an extended amount of time. The longest we play that top C is for 7.5 beats, and the song goes at a pretty moderate tempo overall, so 7.5 beats at a moderate speed is quite a marathon to stay on a single sound. So that's all the more reason for you to make it a main goal to keep your bow arm nice and relaxed at all times as you're playing the song. And I would encourage you to try to get each of the top Cs in a single bow, but when we get those marathon versions like the 7.5 beats on that top C, you may find that you're running out of bow, and so don't worry too much about that and just go ahead and feel free to change bow direction and give yourself a fresh start. You may notice in my playthrough I naturally do that at a couple of points anyway, and if you do find that you need to change bows to buy yourself more time with the top notes, then all you'd want to try to do is have that change be as smooth and seamless as possible. You might have to do a little blending of that. But yeah, that is everything you need to know to play the OA theme song. And so now I'm going to play the theme song for you, and I'll have the sheet music showing up line by line, so you can feel free to learn the song for yourself if you want to.